Good morning. Happy Friday. Welcome to the Pitch Strike Chronicles. I am Uncle Tats here with Donald, and we're going to be having our open panel Friday. And this is something we're going to try to do up until opening day of the regular season, where we do an open panel and let you guys come on, do a little player profile on some players that we feel are worth having a debate about on their greatness. And Donald, there's one thing that I have always said. I always felt the Giancarlo Stanton trade is the last trade that the ghost of George Steinbrenner made. It is a move that he would have made 10 times out of 10. It was an easy trade to make, as the Marlins at the time were stripping everything down. And there has always been this cloud over Giancarlo because of the trade coming off that MVP season, that he was just going to be this dynamic Yankee that was going to bring us back to the promised land. And truth be told, it has not happened. But this is a guy who, after they won the pennant and they all got their rings for winning the AL, the American League Championship Series, I don't want to see anybody wearing that ring. That's not the ring that we're waiting for. That's not the ring we're playing for. A guy that says if he doesn't wear it, if the Yankees don't win a championship in his tenure, then it is a incomplete story. Right? That came out recently. This is a guy that really wants to cement himself in Yankee lore. He's not, yes, he's making a lot of money. He's got a lot of expectations. He's got a lot of weight on his shoulders, and he's here for it, all of it. Yet he gets dumped on. Yes, we all know that he's going to miss 30, 40 games a year. We've accepted that. We know that to be true. But yet, this is, we all talk about guys that, plays that are required. Can they handle the pressures of New York? I think Stanton has done that tenfold. He's handled everything. The ups, the downs, the success, the failures. And he's never made an excuse of why the Yankees have succeeded or failed. He wears it all. He bears every arrow that has been slung to him. So when I look back at Stanton, and just so you guys know, this will be an open panel. We will be putting the link up to join in if you want to discuss this. I think Stanton is on pace for a Hall of Fame career. It all depends on, there are certain milestones that need to be reached. But it's also one of these where Stanton's that player that the game will not appreciate until he's gone. I really feel that way. I think he's going to be a missed player that gave everything he had to this game and got no appreciation for. And that's a sad state to be in. It's really depressing to have to say that, because he is that good of a ball player. When he had that wild pitch off his face, there were a lot of people that he'll never be the same. And he was. He came back. He had an MVP season. So he's endured obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, injury after injury. It still grinds it out to put his best foot forward to whatever uniform he's on, have that team succeed, and he gets shit on. And it's really unfortunate. So I do not take for granted that Giancarlo Stanton is on his team. We've had postseason success because of Giancarlo Stanton. he had a this past postseason rather, he was not himself. There's no way around that. Right? He was not able to lift his team up like he had in previous years. Facts are the facts. But he is everything that every Yankee fan wants out of their player that puts that uniform on. That's how we have stood since the season this channel's been created. We have always backed Giancarlo Stanton. You get him into the postseason, just sit back, put your hands behind your head, and enjoy the ride. That's I can't say much more about him. I pulled up Baseball Reference real quick on my phone here for his career, his WAR, 46.8. At bats, 6,274 hits, 1,619. Could be more, but there's got 453 home runs. So if he has a full season, that's himself, he can reach 500. And he's got a 258 career batting average for a DH, the American League. And one thing that I think a lot of people forget, when you talk about, each position, you forget. I think some fans forget the DH is a designated hitter. Don't complain about when he's on the field. He's going to get some games in the outfield. They try to keep him loose. At his request. Remember that. He's a guy where he'll come out and you'll be like, I feel like I'm at my best when I'm playing on the field. He won the MVP in the National League when there was no DH. And it wasn't just because of his bat. He is a good outfielder. Great, debatable. There could be, there's definitely an argument to that. But he won the MVP as a right fielder for the Marlins. And a lot of it was, yes, because of his bat, which is why the Yankees acquired him. That bat in Yankee Stadium has been a blessing, in my opinion. His health was really held him back from being a Yankee great. But his postseason is what really carries him and keeps, I think, Donald, I can speak for both of us. It keeps us very optimistic about his legacy as a Yankee. That everything will come into fruition and we will look back and be like, we are lucky we had him. Donald, your thoughts? Do you agree? Any arguments to what I had said?
Well, first of all, we're 10 minutes in, and I want to say hello to everybody in the chat. What's going on? Second of all, Taz, you're spot on, man. I don't think Big G gets enough credit in the fan base. I don't know why the fans haven't really taken to him as they have others that haven't achieved nearly as much as Stanton has as a Yankee. I know that obviously there was a lot of pressure on him after the trade, but I think he's held up his end of the bargain.
Yep.
I think he has. What do we always say? What do you do in October? What do you do in October? Well, Big G happens to be our best our best player in October over the last period of time. He's been our best hitter in October. That's just a fact. Many Octobers, he was the only one that showed up. So, I'm not quite sure why he doesn't get the credit he deserves. The injuries, do you think he controls those injuries? There's nothing you can do about those injuries. It happens. That's just his body type. He's built like Adonis, a freaking Greek god, and unfortunately, I think his lower half is kind of broken. So yeah, he's gonna miss a period of time. He can't control that. But what he can control is when he's on the field. And when he's on the field, he hits. He had an OPS of just under 1,000 last year, 944. That's absurd. And I love his attitude. Not only is he a great hitter, great person, great teammate, his attitude's fantastic. He never once sulks. And he's had every reason to sulk, considering Yankee fans have booed him.
Yep.
I believe after his first at-bat, and his first at-bat as a Yankee hit a home run. And then the very next day, he got booed mercilessly because he struck out a couple times.
That was he had a 5 strikeout game after that.
Yeah, but the boos were pretty much instant. It didn't take 5 strikeouts to boo him. But he got booed a lot in his first year, even though he had a good year. It just shows that I don't think the fans were very fair to him. I really don't. I don't think the fans have been very fair to him for a while. He's a good leader, and he upholds the standards of what we expect. When he says, I don't want to see anybody wearing your ALCS ring, boom. The only ring that counts is the one for a World Series. So that's the right attitude. You know what I'm saying? That is the right attitude. He's got that winning attitude. That's why I like him. That's why I'm always going to back him. He knows what it means. He knows what it means to be a Yankee. He knows. He understands. There's precious few over the last few years that have actually understood as much as he does, along with Aaron Judge. Soto did, but he's gone. So, I mean, you have to appreciate the ones that really do understand. So, I hope that fans have started to warm to him. I really do. I mean, I don't know what more he could do for you, but I genuinely believe that he's a Hall of Famer. I think he's on 353 home runs, right?
No, he's at 453,
right? He's on
453 home runs.
453 home runs. I believe if he gets to 500, he's a lock. And he should be a lock. So I believe 2 strong seasons, it doesn't even have to be outrageously strong seasons, 2 fairly strong seasons that'll get him up to 500, and I think that he will be a deserved Hall of Famer.
Like, yeah, that's the best part about it is the fact that, you know, what's great about Giancarlo, and we're going to put the link up in a minute after we do our, do our little monologue here. You know, I started saying I think it was 2 seasons ago, Donald, that he's the most underrated Yankee that's ever put the uniform on. You know, and look, him being signed gets linked a lot to why we don't have Bryce Harper, why we didn't sign Machado, you know, and, you know, the argument on either end, whether you love him or you hate him, you do get a lot of valid points. So there's no
anybody who criticizes. I'll jump in there. I think anybody who criticizes Stanton because he stops them from getting Bryce Harper is absurd. The only people that stopped the Yankees from getting Bryce Harper and Manny Machado were Brian Cashman and his front office. They are who to blame, not Stanton.
Yes.
Stanton has nothing to do with that. And you still could have gotten Bryce Harper. There was no reason not to. And by the way, Brian Cashman didn't use Stanton as the excuse. He said it was Aaron Hicks.
Ellsbury. Oh,
And and Aaron Hicks was the reason why. We've got Aaron Hicks. Why would you need Bryce Harper? So focus your arrows in Brian Cashman's direction, because he's the one that refuses to bring in any superstars. Any. He's the one. It's not to do with Stanton. He's one of the last remaining ones we have. We might as well enjoy him. Well, we got him.
But going to, here is the link now in the chat. Just so you know. So what's going on, bro? I wanted to call you right after the show. See how you were feeling. Hope you are resting and you are well. And definitely miss you on the airways. I was gonna call you over the weekend. I didn't want to really bother you. So with that being said, when you do come on, if you are going to be on the open panel, this is a player profile, so we're talking about Stanton. So make sure you state whether you are for or against Stanton being on this roster, and your reasons why. Do you agree with us? Do you not? So, it's one of these. I think this is a very polarizing topic, because Stanton is a very polarizing player. And that it is more of, if there was ever a player that was a love or hate in the New York market, I think Stanton's right up there. And I think that spreads across all the big four sports. Stanton is always on the topic of discussion, with him being on this roster.
Right. Yeah, because the normal complaints about him are, he clogs up a roster spot. He can't field his position.
Mm-hmm.
Blah, blah, blah. We've heard it. He's the reason why we don't have Bryce Harper. It's the same narrative. It's the same. He's always hurt, as if he has any control over that.
It's it's definitely, he's one of these guys where we've gloated over him over and over again for almost 6 years now, since this channel's been created, where we've always appreciated what he's brought to this team. And it's not, I know we're coming off like we're on some love affair with Stanton, but it's more of appreciating what he's done for this organization and the way he has carried the level of standards that the dynasty that we endure has kept with himself. And so that's really where we're at. So definitely the link's in the chat. So definitely jump on the open panel. We want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think of Stanton as a Yankee? Are you for it, against it, indifferent? We want to give you the stage. So definitely jump in and give us your thoughts. Let's go through a couple more of these comments here. We got from FJ. I could swear I remember Cashman saying he didn't go for Harper because he was expected to. And that's an interesting take.
That's his ego. That's Cashman's ego for you.
Bingo. It's a whole ego with him.
Yeah. It's too easy for me to bring in Bryce Harper. I'm going to show my genius and bring in Aaron Hicks.
Are we so much better for that? What a smart. Thank God we got Brian Cashman as our GM.
Right?
You see here a lot of unfortunates for Stanton, but when he's on the field / lineup, he's a huge threat.
Bingo.
Yeah. Is he gonna,
He's
Part
always
of me wants
also part of the reason why we were in the World Series in 24. It was basically him
Yep.
and Juan Soto.
and Lou, you're absolutely right.
And Soto's gone. So it is basically, it was Stanton. Big G was almost like 2/3 of the reason why this Yankee team made it to the World Series. And he had an outrageous playoff run. Outrageous. And we learned that he did it with 2 bad elbows.
Yep.
It's one of the great postseasons you're going to see. One of the great postseasons. And it was very unfortunate that the rest of his teammates stunk. Because apart from Soto, who's gone, I keep having to add that. Because I want Brian Cashman to understand. But I don't know what more Big G needs to do to be liked. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying he's disliked, but I think that there's still a section of the fan base, as you say, that they're a bit off with him. I'm not quite sure why.
No,
when he
think
plays, he hits. It's as simple as that. When he plays, he hits. He had an OPS of 944 last year. That's absurd. If he played a full season, I think he projected to hit over 40 home runs. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's really the only thing that holds him back is the amount of times he can play, and that's fair.
And
but that's not something that he can control. He does everything he can to be ready. You know what I'm saying? He even changed his workout regimen to be more, to be less bulked up like the Hulk. And, he's changed his workout regimen and it helped. So, I mean, he's trying his best. I just think back the guy. The guy's fantastic. I love him too, man. I love him.
Yep.
I just love him. I'll be honest, criticize most of this team, but not him.
Now, we've heard a lot of the arguments, and we have our first analyst backstage.
Let's
We're
go
in a moment. We've had a lot of people, you see on social media and on Sports Talk Radio about, just, the money. Oh, I can't believe they took on that contract. Well, the contract now is a bargain.
Yeah.
And, and then he clogs up the roster. So there's less flexibility for the DH. The DH is not supposed to be an open spot to just, have some random player. It's the DH. It's a designated hitter. He's on the roster.
We have enough utility players. Like half this roster are utility guys. I'm all right with one guy that just does his thing.
But, enough hearing from us. Let's bring up the first guy on our panel today. Let's bring up TC Steels. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, TC?
What's up, guys? I had to join, man. It's been too long,
you did.
Man. I had to come on. Yeah, I miss you guys. I miss you, Tats. Donald, love all your stuff, man. Got to give you guys some props. I had to show up.
Really appreciate it, man.
So,
really appreciate it.
Yeah. Give us your opposition, your defense. What's your take on Giancarlo Stanton? His career as a Yankee, and do you think that he's going to end up in the Hall of Fame? Give us the complete lowdown.
That's yours, my friend. It's a tough one because he's had his ups and downs as a Yankee. With the injuries, that's huge. So, but again, like I said in the chat, when he's on the field and when he's in the lineup, he's a big threat, and he's carried the load for a while. When we Judge struggles or someone's out of the lineup, Stanton he can carry the lineup. He can put up big numbers in a week, and if he gets to 500 home runs, I think he should be a Hall of Famer. I mean that should be the status quo there. That puts him in the Hall of Fame. But on the other side, on the flip side, He doesn't play the field a lot. He's injured. He's missed a lot of games. He strikes out a ton. So, I mean, I can see where the fans say, I don't know if he should be a Hall of Famer. I mean, there's DHs in the Hall of Fame, Harold Baines, David Ortiz, as such, but I don't know. His numbers aren't that good. They don't compare overall to those type of players. And I don't know how long he has left. He might have 2 years left. I know his years with the Yankees are coming up. I think next year is his final year with the Yanks. I think.
I think it's next year.
Not sure if he's going to go past that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I guess it's a bias because he's a Yankee. I think he should be in a Hall of Fame. I see where people have their doubts. But yeah, I'll push for the Hall of Fame for sure. Yeah.
I think that with the Hall of Fame,
Yeah, I would too.
I'm usually very cut and dry. If I have to think about it, you're out. I think Pettit, along with another guy that came up in a recent discussion at my job with Papelbon, if he was a Hall of Fame closer, just a name that was brought up that wasn't a Yankee, as much as I can't stand him. But, his numbers are his numbers. So you get in these situations where, yes, there's bias. You can't deny that.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of those. If he gets in, I'll be excited. If not, I understand. As far as his, how he's portrayed as a Yankee, I think he's he's an old school ball player. If you don't win the World Series, then what do we play the season for? And I think that's where he, his contract brings him a lot of heat. His injury history brings him a lot of heat. And I think that years after he stops playing, is when we're going to look back going, damn, we had him. He gave us everything he had in that uniform in the Bronx. And it's not until he's done playing the game that we're going to look back and appreciate him. And it's a shame because we're not living in the moment. We're so obsessed with the World Series, as Yankee fans should be. Our organization, they raised us that way. And I really do think that Stanton's he's the most underrated player in the game right now, not even just on this team. I don't think the game appreciates what he brings to it.
I mean, if you look at his postseason numbers, his postseason numbers should be Hall of Fame worthy. As a Yankee, his OPS in the postseason is 926, 600 slug. But if you look at it even further, like for instance, in the wild card, his OPS is 1167 with an 800 slug and almost a 400 on base percentage. His DS, 533 slug, 867 OPS. In the championship series, his OPS is almost 1,000. And then in the World Series, he obviously that one World Series appearance, he had an 832 OPS. Like, what more does he need to do? If you deep dive like in 2018, in the wild card against Oakland, he had a 1,300 slug. Against Cleveland in 2020, he had a 1,400 slug. Tampa Bay, he had 1,000 slug. This is all in the postseason. Boston 2021, 1,500 slug. I mean, these are insane numbers, and that's like MLB The Show on rookie numbers. Like, it's really hard to slug that insanely high. You know what I'm saying? 18 homers, 44 RBIs in the postseason is ridiculous. In the postseason with those numbers. numbers combined. So, like, I think that you're right. I think he is underrated. I don't think that he gets enough for what he does on the field. I mean, he only played 77 games last year. And in that span, he had a 270 batting average, which is great. 600 slug, 944 OPS. I mean, what more does he need to do? 24 home runs and 66 RBIs in just 77 games. If you spread that out over 160, that dude would have gotten like 45 home runs.
You know, I know a lot of people refer to the WAR stat. I know we have Spencer backstage. I'm waiting to make sure that his camera's operating before bringing him into the discussion. But you know, when you take into account the amount of games he's missed, to still have over his career a 46 WAR plus. I mean, that speaks volumes of when he's healthy. He is one of the most dominant bats this game has seen in years. I don't want to say ever because there's been a lot of dominant hitters, but he is a very feared hitter when he's on a streak. You could always tell by the way that they approach him at the plate.
DC?
Yeah, no, I mean, we have a lot of good points for him to be a Hall of Famer. I mean, just the ball off his bat. I mean, that alone. I mean, that's Hall of Fame worthy. I mean, he kills the ball. It was 120 miles an hour off of the bat sometimes. So he's a feared hitter. We forget that when he was on the Marlins and he could run, I mean, he could steal bags. He played the field. I mean, it's just unfortunate what we see as a Yankee. You know, what sticks in my head is him, rounding third, waving him in, and he just trotting home, and he gets tagged out at home. I mean, those things stick in our head, and we can't get it out. Like, why? What's he doing out on the bases? He can't run. It's just these unfortunate things with his legs. Yeah, he probably did too much in the weight room, and it kind of screwed him up, through the years. But again, when he's on the field and he's in the lineup, you pencil him in, he's gonna come through. He's gonna do something. He's gonna do damage. Every at bat is a threat for a home run. I mean, yeah, he strikes out a ton, but when he makes contact, it's extra bases or home run. I mean, the guy he produces. It's tough to see our lineup without him. I mean, seeing that we have hardly any right-handed hitters, we need him. We need another big right-handed bat in the lineup, and that's him.
Right.
Yeah, and I've said it, throughout the years. I'm a big Judge supporter. I'm not a Judge supporter as a captain. I don't think he's a good captain. And Stanton is a good captain, and we need his expertise and his, the way he carries himself. Donald, you brought up the point about the ring, things like that. That's captain material, and he complains, what's going on, guy? Why can't we, hustle? What's going on? Like he's upset when guys are not accountable for making mistakes, and we need that. And he's like that old school mentality. We miss that in baseball. And he's, as much as you want to say he's not, with all the, the negatives, he's got a lot of positives. And that's what I see. And I'm, he's a Hall of Famer to me.
Yeah,
I love him, man. It's a great point. It's a great point about his mentality. He's the one that holds player-only meetings. He's the one that holds it. In fact, he often holds the meetings in general. Boone just sits on the side. It's usually Stanton that does the talking. Like, people listen to Big G.
Yep.
Like, he is respected. So obviously there's one person in the chat that doesn't respect him. Stuff and things, but I'll tell you who does respect them. it's that Yankee clubhouse. They love Big G. Aaron
They
Judge
love
especially.
him. Yep.
And I will listen to Aaron Judge. If Aaron Judge really
Right.
respects someone, then I respect him.
Mm-hmm.
Because Judge knows. And Big G provides a lot of leadership off the field and on the field that, to be fair, if you look at the rest of this roster, how many leaders do we have? And that's one of my big complaints. Like, how many leaders do we have?
Maybe Bowl.
It's just Judge and Stanton on the field in terms of like the everyday players. It's different pitching wise. I think Garrett Cole's a leader and those things, but in terms of like position players, I think it's just him and Judge really.
Yeah.
Well, now that Spencer's got his camera working now, we're gonna bring Spencer in. We'll get his take. I'm gonna put the link in the chat a few more times throughout. If you disagree with us and you want to come on and debate us on camera, please feel free to jump on the open panel. This is a open discussion. We will respect everybody's opinion, everybody's take. We do not discriminate against people that disagree with us. That's not what an open panel is about. So let's bring in Spencer. Spencer, long time no see. How you doing, my friend?
Hi, guys.
How you feeling about the topic today? How you feeling?
A very good topic. It's something I'm definitely interested in being a part of, and I think you guys know where I stand. But I'm looking forward to sharing my views on the issue, and also just want to wish everybody a happy baseball season. Spring training games start today for the Yankees. I'm really excited about it. I love spring training. But let's talk about this topic. Giancarlo Stanton, tell me when to go.
Go.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that he was a Yankee? Do you look at him in his Yankee tenure as somebody that's been, an asset to this organization? Does him being on the roster clog up any moves that they've been able to make? Let's start with that one.
Well, Bobby, I am in the camp of fans that believes that acquiring Giancarlo Stanton in 2018, before the 2018 season, in the wake of not getting Shohei Ohtani, I feel that acquiring Giancarlo Stanton, it's one of the greatest trades in Yankee history. That's not hyperbole. I feel that seriously. Prior to that, it was when we acquired Alex Rodriguez for Alfonso Soriano. There are very few trades in the Yankees' history that are as monumental and as seismic as Giancarlo Stanton. Giancarlo Stanton, before he came to the Yankees, was one of the was not a rising star. He already was a star with the Miami Marlins. You'll of course remember he hit 59 home runs in 2017, and he was pursuing Roger Maris's record. And he was a prolific home run hitter, and he could hit for average as well. He was a hit machine, and he was a run-making machine. So when the opportunity came that he could become a New York Yankee, I was on the floor about it. I thought this is a great move for the team, and this is something that we are going to be very pleased about. Giancarlo Stanton is really a guy that was meant to be a Yankee. For fans that have issues, or that criticize him, well, you're allowed to criticize, but I think what's getting lost is you don't see, like, sometimes a player is more than just a player, and that's what the game wants. You want to have players that you gravitate towards, and Giancarlo Stanton, he stands out amongst his teammates. He stands out amongst players in the game as well. Yeah, like, he's got issues with his I heard you talking about how his legs are an issue when he's running. I can see that, even though I'm blind. I understand the limitations that causes. You obviously you're going to lose some runs, and you're going to have some innings end because of the limitations with his legs, but it's his bat that does the talking. On the issue of being a Hall of Famer, again, we've talked about this before, guys. You know how I feel about the Hall of Fame. I'll give you a short brief. I believe that the Hall of Fame today has lost its way. Writers are
It certainly has.
inducting
I agree.
players. They're inducting players based on how they did in their career. And with the expanded stats, they're putting in a lot more players into the Hall of Fame that don't belong there. And with this Veterans Committee, we're seeing that as well. Alan Trammell, Burt Blyleven, Andrew
It's
Jones.
crazy.
I don't want to get into a whole list of it, but there are my view on the Hall of Fame is it's not asking a question of whether a player had a great career. The Hall of Fame was instituted to honor players who stand out and were amongst the greatest of the great and serve the interests of the game. It's not how they did, it's how they helped baseball. Ted Williams helps baseball. Jackie Robinson helps baseball. Cal Ripken, Steve Carlton, Bob. These players in the Hall of Fame, and they are in the Hall of Fame because of what they do for baseball. Andrew Jones, are you kidding me? So Giancarlo Stanton, this guy had a great career, but his career is one of the most important to the game of baseball, whether he hits 500 home runs or not. Now, the way that the writers vote, I think you need to hit those 500 home runs. But I've lost all, especially with induction.
Okay, love you too.
I'll tell you, I'm one who
Your mic's breaking up a little bit, Spence.
Sorry?
Yeah, you're breaking up.
Your
I
mic's
can hear
breaking up a
your.
little bit.
I can
We have
hear your
we have another
Oh.
panelist backstage that wants to jump in. Before we do that, let's give a quick shout out to Issy Devo with the 499 super chat. Appreciate you, Issy. Always a great supporter of the channel. Giancarlo's at bats are events only. Other Yankee I can say that for is 99, and that right fielder we list the Queens. Everyone else offensively is shook. And
That's a great point.
Giancarlo's at bats are events because you never know. He's going to hit a tape measure shot. He may hit it to that double play. And that was a debate that was in the chat with our next panelist and Stuff and Things. We're going a little back and forth about it. And Stuff and Things, just so you know, you just in case you can't make it on today, each Friday until opening day, we'll be doing an open panel show. So it'll be just an open discussion today because of what we were talking about earlier in the week. And last week, we made this one strictly about Stanton. But next Friday will be about anything you want to bring up. It will be during our regular scheduled time. But coming in now, let's all welcome Warren France. Warren, you have been following us and hanging out with us for the last couple of years now. First time.
What's good, Warren?
yeah,
And by the way,
face-to-face.
man, I love that.
Pleasure to meet you. Appreciate all the support you've given us. What do you want to add to the discussion?
Good morning.
I want to
guys.
say I
Warren
love that
Warren.
number 7 jersey you got back there, brother.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Oh, baby, that's my boy.
Legend right there.
Melo's
Yes,
my boy.
legend.
He is my boy.
So, love you guys. Appreciate all that you do. Staying consistent. You guys have been killing it. I love all your sentiments. Even though we don't agree, I don't agree with everything you guys say, but I
That's
appreciate
okay.
you guys for your hard work. You guys show up. Donald, I think we're one and the same. I swear to God, every time I watch this show, I'm like, this guy verbalizes every single thing that I feel about this team.
My guy.
So
My guy.
I appreciate you guys very much. I do content as well, so I hope we can meet up sometime at a game. We can
That'd
catch a
be
game
awesome.
sometime and shoot something. So just on Giancarlo, I will say that when they initially traded for him, I didn't like the trade because when they lost in the playoffs, I found that the reason that they lost wasn't because of home runs, right? And what Giancarlo Stanton brought to the team. I love that he was a great right-handed hitter. I felt at the time that they really needed a lefty, and that's why we were really all looking forward to Bryce Harper. Now, with that being said, what I saw thereafter from Giancarlo Stanton, perfect New York Yankee. Everything that he represents, his attitude, how his approach to the game. The only thing is his injuries, and it's kind of tough for me to fault a player for when he gets injured. All I can do is look at what you do while you're on the field, and if you get injured, That's part of the game. We play a 162 game season. It's really difficult for not just Giancarlo. If you look around the league, Corey Seager's one of the best players of in our generation, but the guy gets hurt all the time. But
What about
does
Mike
that take
Trout?
Mike Trout? That was a person I brought up in the chat as well. Does that take away from your greatness as a player or what you actually do when you are there? Never will. And that never, I personally don't take that into, yeah, I'm not going to penalize you for your body breaking down. But Giancarlo has been such a great Yankee, and I truly do appreciate him as a player. And again, his seriousness. And if you look, right, 2024 playoff run, this is just all I'll say. I'll keep it pretty brief. This man hit 273 with a 1.048 OPS throughout the entire playoff run. Not in a series, in an entire playoff run. He had a MVP in front of him, Aaron Judge, and Juan Soto, who also hit 308 that entire playoff run in 2024. And he was our best hitter that entire playoff run, without question. Mind you, in a season which he missed a lot of time in 2024, if I'm not mistaken, right? He came back towards the end of the season. And then, right. So for what this guy's contributed, his stats as a playoff hitter on the Yankees, 254, 45 hits, 18 home runs, 44 RBIs, 26 runs, and 48 playoff games.
Yeah,
What more are
can't
you
argue
really
that.
looking from your DH?
What more does he need to do?
And not only
Win
that,
a World Series. That's what he needs to do, and that's his goal. That's why I think a lot of the appreciation for him gets waved away is because they did not hoist that trophy yet, and it's not his fault. He's done everything he can.
exactly. And that's the most
everybody was
frustrating part about it.
praising him when he said after 24 when they won the pennant that he didn't want to see anybody wearing that ring. That's not the ring that we're waiting for. That's not the ring we're playing for. And then coming out this week saying, look, if I don't win a World Series with the Yankees, my career is incomplete. But let's just keep shitting on the guy.
The only player that comes out and is actually realistic. I've never seen Giancarlo come out in interviews. Judge toes the company line, and he's very, hesitant to give criticism to the team. Giancarlo will come out and say, we didn't achieve our goals. We didn't do what we were supposed to do. We played like shit. Don't wear those ALC. We're here to win a World Series, right? And I appreciate that, right? As a player, being real about it. When he doesn't perform, he says, hey, I didn't do what I was supposed to do. Not Aaron Boone, it's right in front of us and all this nonsense. You can be realistic without shitting on others or without being this Debbie Downer. And that's what I love about Giancarlo Stanton, is his being realistic about the situation and looking at it and saying, I'm not going to be on the Yankees forever, right? I've got 2 more years. And just one more note on Giancarlo Stanton. This man's making $19 million a year.
Bargain.
And because the Marlins are paying 10 million of that salary.
So what is the complaint? Like, you could never complain about a guy who literally matches hit 274 last year in a time where we're seeing dominant pitchers, and the league average is 255. So he's hitting above average. He's hitting for power. We need right hand hitting. What is the issue with Stanton?
Right, and we're paying Bellinger double what we're paying Stanton.
We're playing Grisham as much as we're playing Giancarlo Stanton.
Right.
God damn it! Like,
and Stanton is double the hitter of Bellinger and quadruple the hitter of Trent Grisham.
Yeah. But let's get Spencer's take on what Warren has said.
Yeah, I agree with Warren. Totally agree. He's matched in the playoffs. He takes the game very seriously. He takes winning seriously. There's really no fucking around with Giancarlo Stanton. That's what I like about him. He is all business. He's all business when he's in in front of the microphone at a press conference, and he is all business when he gets into the box. Like Warren says, you can't fault a guy for injuries. You can't fault a guy for having a bad game every now and then. Also, it's just the nature of baseball. Baseball is a very cyclic-oriented sport, so it's going to happen. I think what it comes down to is you have to ask yourself, do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? And with Giancarlo Stanton, the advantages far exceed any disadvantages. I would rather him be a Yankee than not.
Amen. And also, you got a good point. Like the Hall of Fame is, if you're talking about his Hall of Fame candidacy, the Hall of Fame currently is the Hall of Good, or it's the Hall of Nice Personality. You know what I'm saying? As long as you toe the party line, you're viewed as a nice person. You get in the Hall of Fame now, regardless of anything. It's like, come on, like you tell me that Kurt Schilling isn't a Hall of Famer. I mean, I hated the guy, but that dude could ball, right? But it's just because his political beliefs are a little bit different than others. You're not allowed. You know what I'm saying? It's just like I think that's wrong. And you look at some of the names that have been brought in recently, and you're telling me that Stanton isn't better than some of these names that have been brought in recently. Good luck with that.
You're preaching to the choir. You're preaching to the choir, Donald. You know, I'm really at the point where I have no interest in the Hall of Fame. It doesn't mean anything to me. My suggestion, not that anybody's listening to me, but I think Major League Baseball it's about time that they instituted something like the MLB Dean's List of statistical accomplishment, because that's why they're putting all these guys into the Hall of Fame now. Last Wagner, I couldn't believe Billy Wagner got into the Hall of Fame. He's not
crazy
important players to the game. You know, he might have, you know,
Scott Rowland.
But is he one of the most important players in the game? So the Hall of Fame, it means nothing to me. I wouldn't put any stock into what the writers are doing. The Hall of Fame is lost.
Yeah, as far as with the Hall of Fame is, we'll squeeze that into an open panel before the start of the season, just on our thoughts on the Hall. But to rein it back in with Stanton here, because he's part of the opposition, but he did mention a couple of times in the chat that he doesn't have time to jump into the show. But stuff and things, he's been another great supporter. So I wanted to bring up this, and we'll go around table with TC, Warren, and Spence. Was you can't fault the guy for injuries, but there are injuries that are avoidable. What is your take on that when it pertains strictly to Stanton? TC, well, you go first.
Well, I mean, I don't know if they're avoidable. The guy's he has a lot of leg issues, so I don't know if he's in the gym too much and he's doing too many weights and it's really messing his ligaments or messing with his joints or I don't know. That seems to be the main issue. He's had other issues, bicep issues, or ribs or what. I'm sure he's had other. I can't state every injury he's ever had, but the ones that come to mind are always his leg, calf, injuries. So I don't know how avoidable that they are, unless I mean we always want to blame the Yankees medical staff. I mean the Yankees have tons of injuries every single season. So I don't know if you want to blame them. They're not, he's not properly training in the off season, or he's doing too much. I don't know, but I mean, what I see is when he's on the field and he's still a threat. That's all I look at. I mean, I get it. I mean, us track and what we're paying him, and we're not paying his money. We're not doing. I want to see him win on the field, bring us a championship. That's all I care about. Even the Hall of Fame doesn't really matter to me that much, as long as he's hoisting that championship trophy, and he brings some moxie or something to the team, where these guys are accountable. I mean, we need that, and he's one of the last guys in the league that can, the old school mentality that brings that. So injury, it's just tough. It's a tough debate on the injury. So I don't know. I'll leave it up to someone else to talk about that.
Yeah, I'd like to debate this whole. I want to debate him with this whole avoidable injuries thing. Like for me, avoidable injuries is Aaron Boone tearing his ACL playing pickup baseball, pickup basketball.
Which got his A-Rod.
Remember that? Which got his A-Rod. So thank you, Aaron. That was probably the second best thing he's ever done as a Yankee, actually. Apart from that home run, that was the best thing Aaron Boone's ever done as a Yankee. Helped us get A-Rod. But, I mean, that's an avoidable injury. Jason Pierre-Paul blowing up his hand playing with a firework. That is an avoidable,
injury. Yeah.
Those are avoidable injuries, right? Xavier McKinney driving around in a mud truck and falling and breaking his wrist. That shit is an avoidable injury. You can tell I'm a scarred Giants fan. These are avoidable injuries. Like, what is Stanton? What's avoidable about Stanton's injury? And by the way, Stanton is one of those similar people because Stuff and Thanks has elaborated on his point, saying there was a point where Aaron Judge had injuries, but he made adjustments and fixed that part. But Stanton did the same thing because they both changed their workout regimen. They weren't just building themselves up at the Hulk. He changed. I think he went into more like aerobics areas and like Pilates or whatever.
Pilates, all that shit.
I don't do the girls thing. I don't know, but he did those things and it worked. So good. What more does he need to do? You know what I'm saying? He can't run. Okay. You know what I'm saying? As Issy says, he runs like an 8-bit computer character, but we know that. He can only walk around the bases, right? I get it. It's not everyone's gonna love that, right? Hamstring injuries, can they be avoided? That's just his body. Dude, that's just his body. Warren, give me your.
It looks like Warren's about to jump out of his chair. Let's give him the floor for it.
Because this
go Warren, go.
He's itching.
It is because Giancarlo Stanton. Judge and Cole. You can see I'm a diehard supporter of the team, but Giancarlo Stanton, this is like a really passionate argument for me. So, Donald, you brought up a point last time. I think it was a week ago. You guys were live streaming, and you said you read off Giancarlo Stanton's stats while he's playing the field as a hitter. And in his entire tenure as a Yankee, have any of you ever seen Giancarlo Stanton get injured on the field?
No.
Okay. So what that tells me is, and I'm sure most of you have played sports, right? It's incredibly difficult, especially as a guy as built as he is, to just stop and start and stop and start. When you're just sitting on the bench and then you have to get up and then go and hit the ball and then sprint as fast as you can. Well, this is why he doesn't do it anymore, because anytime I'm 33. I played in a pickup baseball league for the first time in like 6 years. And I went out there. I stretched as much as possible. I got a single and I tried to steal second base and I pulled my hamstring immediately. This is a person who plays sports every single day. I play sports, baseball, basketball, right? My entire life. So I can understand for a professional athlete, and he said this, he prefers to play in the field. He actually likes moving, and it's more engaging as a baseball player. It's extremely difficult to be a DH, and that's why I give him so much props as well for what he's had to sacrifice, right? Because we could live with him. We could have done something to give him at least, let's call it 30, 40 games in the outfield, because I will live on this hill. Die on this hill. He's never gotten hurt playing the outfield, and his numbers reflect he's a better player when he's playing the outfield. Now, is he the greatest defender? Absolutely not. But I swear it would limit his injuries getting more active. And then on the Judge front, his injuries have kind of been freakish, so I wouldn't really look at it like he made any big changes besides not making slides. When you're a big guy, you got to be careful, right? He's not doing the dives and he's not running into the walls as much. So that's the change that he's made. But for Giancarlo, I feel like if he just played more and he was more active, not so much now, but in the last 3-4 years, they gave him some burn in the outfield. I feel like that would have limited his injury history for sure.
No,
I agree with that.
That's a great point. And I'm going to bring up this next comment here, and this is going to be for Spencer to respond to. Stuff and Things, man, I wish you were able to get on this live panel. I wish you had the time, because the contrast of opinions are extremely valuable. And I know we're bringing up a lot of your comments because really you're the only one that's kind of pushing back a little bit. And like I said, that's perfectly fine. But Spence, Stuff and Things, he's saying David Ortiz was a DH and figured out and avoided getting hurt. So what is Stanton's excuse?
Well,
he doesn't take steroids.
Thank you, Donald. I'm out of here with that. I swear to God, I was going to say it. I'm out of here. That was it. Literally what I was going to say.
My God, Lord.
But
Yeah.
Spence, what's your, how do you? Because I think the body types are, you can't compare the two of them.
Yeah, you
But-
can't compare anybody. Everybody's different. That's the first thing we have to understand. Some people are just more prone to injuries than others. I mean, we can't all be like Cal Ripken and be able to play, 2,600 consecutive games, without getting an injury. How many guys have done that? So that's the first thing you have to understand. Secondly, I'm sure that Giancarlo Stanton is very judicious, not only talking with the Yankees medical staff, but I'm sure he talks to his own trainers and beyond, just on what he can do to keep himself on the field for as long as possible. But there is only so much that he can control. When you're at bat with a 98 mile an hour, pitch coming in every at bat, you are always just one swing away from another oblique injury. We're talking a lot about, his legs and his calves and hamstrings, and that's understandable. But the thing that we have to be more concerned about for him is the upper body. I mean, last year he was out, not for his legs, but because of his forearms. And if any of you have ever had tennis elbow, I've gotten that before also. That's a very painful thing, to have to deal with. I can't imagine swinging at a 98 mile an hour, fastball and trying to hit one 450 feet beyond the Yankees bleachers, with that kind of condition. But so I think that he is doing everything that he can to keep himself on the field. But we have to understand there really is only so much that he can do. One more thing on Giancarlo Stanton as well. We're talking a lot about his injuries, but I want to talk about what he means as a Yankee and as a baseball player. Just want to get in that. I hope that when he hits his 500th home run, that he is still on the Yankees and the Yankees honor him for it. I wish they had done more for him when he hit his 400th home run. I'm disappointed that they didn't do more for him when he hit his 450th home run. I believe that he belongs in Yankees Monument Park. I believe that he should have a day named for him. Another thing, going back to when Aaron Judge was named captain, I'm not really a big fan on captains. I'm sure we all heard the news and comments by Steve Cohen on why he won't name a captain for the New York Mets. When you get into that, you realize that the Yankees are only one of two teams that even have a captain in their organization. The thing that I object to having a captain isn't anything against Aaron Judge. It's just that in designating him the captain, you sort of neuter Giancarlo Stanton in the same way that when Derek Jeter was named captain, it kind of neutered Alex Rodriguez. Both of these guys, Stanton and Judge, they're very, very important. But I would say that Giancarlo Stanton is the captain's captain. Aaron Judge defers to Giancarlo Stanton.
That's right. And but the thing was, obviously, back in Jeter's day, there was a lot of leaders. There was a ton of leaders. You know what I'm saying? You go right through it. Pettit was a leader. Clemens was a leader.
Yeah.
Posada was the attack dog. And he was very much a leader. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he was the guard dog in the junkyard. He was going to come at you if you need.
Absolutely. He'd fight you. He would fight you. Mo was a leader. You had leaders. Tino, Paul O'Neill. Those were all leaders. And then you had like Darryl Strawberry off the bench. He was a leader. You got all that, and
Luis
now
Sojo,
we don't
I
really
think, was
have
a
any
leader.
leaders in this team. Like it's just Judge and
No,
Cole
not
and
really.
Stanton, as far as I'm concerned.
I would say,
So-
if I had to pick three, it'd be Judge, Cole, and Stanton.
Yeah.
Want to bring up a couple more comments before we do our bring up our last question of the day. And I think Yankee Dave 24 says it right, hits the nail right on the head. Just swing the bat and give us 30 plus home runs. That's really what we need from Stanton. We don't
That's
need
right.
30. We're not waiting for him to have a 30-30 season. Okay, let's just. I think we could all be realistic in that.
Yeah.
So with that, yes, just stay healthy enough to swing the bat. And I think he gives himself a routine where, because I don't know if you guys remember when I brought it up the other day when the reporter asked him the most stupid question that I think a reporter has ever asked. And then when they asked Stanton if they expect him to be on the field for 162 games, like, what did you expect him to say? No. You know what I mean? Like, of course, every athlete wants to play every game.
Yeah.
I want to have a free schedule every time we schedule a show. But sometimes shit happens, like this past Monday, because it seems like every Sunday it snows in fucking New York. So Spence, you know what it's like, is you're in Jersey, you're in the East Coast. There's another storm coming around now for the weekend.
Beach day.
You can't avoid it. Oh,
Yeah.
I was so sick of the snow. I love the winter.
Yeah.
I hate sweating. I hate being hot. But I'm done with the
so
snow.
question,
Just give me some cold weather. I'll survive. But I want to bring up this one comment here. Who is a fan of TC's, and he's saying, I applaud Stanton for being real. Players should not be wishy-washed because the Yankee higher-ups can't stand the truth. So that's going to be the fact that comment that we're going to end this on. TC, he made a comment earlier that he misses seeing you. So we'll give you the floor first.
Yeah.
Is another part of Stanton's appreciation that he does keep it real with the fans and the media, the team, and doesn't try to sugarcoat.
100%. I love listening to Stanton when he, has post-game interviews or even, pre-game. I mean, he shoots from the hip. He's real. He's like, one of us. We're like our shows, your shows, I mean, you guys just coming straight up like a fan, like just true stuff, not sugarcoating anything. I think us fans are all tired of Cashman and Boone's BS. It's just like gaslight, 101.
Amen.
We're tired of it. So Stanton speaks the truth. He knows his truth. He says it. And I love it. I love that. I love I wish more players were like that. I know I used to like listening to Derek Jeter. He just spoke perfectly. He wasn't like 100% always, like a fan, but just the truth. Just spoke what's on his mind. He and that's what Stanton does. He's play well. We want to.
All right, TC froze up a little bit, so we're going to throw it to Spencer. Oh, there he goes.
Oh, you guys see me? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, you jammed up a little bit.
Sorry, yeah, I'm working and I got all kinds of screens open, so sorry about that. But no, I'll cut it off there, guys. Thank you for having me on, and
anytime. Thank you.
I'll be tuning in, watching you guys.
It's great
Spencer,
to see you.
nice
Thank
meeting
you
you.
so
Good
much
job.
for your support.
Dude.
We'll talk soon.
Again.
Yep. Spence, what's your take on his openness with the media and the fans?
Well, it's Giancarlo Stanton, he has the respect of his players, and he has a lot of gravitas, when he speaks. Stanton is a guy where, less is more. He doesn't have to say a lot to get his point across. Stanton is a guy where when he's interviewed, and I like this about him also, makes you a little bit nervous, because you really don't know like what he's thinking, when you ask him his questions, especially when you ask him more serious questions, like if he had a bad game. He'll always give you an honest answer, but he'll give you very measured answers as well. And you're right, he won't try to deflect. He'll always search, for that perfect word to describe exactly what he's thinking. Anecdotally speaking, one of my favorite moments with Stanton was I think it was back in 2018, 2019. That was the game where the Yankees got into the brawl with the Boston Red Sox. Joe Kelly threw at Tyler Austin. Austin threw down the bat, charged the mound. Then later in the clubhouse, Meredith Marakovitz asked Stanton point blank, "Do you think he should have charged the mound?" And Stanton said, "Yeah, he should have." You know, a lot
My
of players
Yep.
correct and is honest about that. But I appreciated that. I appreciated that from Stanton. He's got the respect of the players, but you know, his bat really does the talking. I just want to say also, he came in last year like really with less than half a season to play and hit 25 home runs. I mean, unbelievable. Now I
It's crazy.
hit 25 home runs, but you know that he actually did it really, really remarkable. But just circling back to what you were saying, you know, Stanton, in short, you know, says a lot with as little as possible. Very efficient.
Yeah, I think one
I
argument.
agree with that.
You know,
And Spencer, just to jump in, how are you doing, man? How have you been?
Well, I appreciate you guys asking. First of all, for the subscribers out there who are new to the channel, these guys, this show really helped me get through a very traumatic time in my life back in 2024. So I'm always appreciative of you guys, always thankful for you, and I'll always be a fan of the Pinstripe Chronicles. And I made a faux pas today. I had my coffee, but I left my coffee downstairs in my awesome Pinstripe Chronicles mug. I love drinking out of that mug.
now we got to start the show all over again. Thanks.
Rookie mistake. Rookie mistake. Oh.
Spirits are good though, Donald. I appreciate you asking. I mean, there's really no improvement. The eyesight is still very poor, but being visually impaired is far better than being completely sightless. So I'm thankful to have the little bit of sight that I have, and I'm
So
active.
you are able to see things? Are you able to like what kind of, are you able to watch games and stuff to some extent?
Well, I put games on, but I do better like when I hear the audio, the radio.
Right.
I really
Okay.
screen unless like very close up to the television. Everything is still in black and white. The left eye, this is the eye that's doing most of the vision. This eye really can't see anything. I've only got about half vision. Like when I put my finger here, I see everything going towards the nose, but you know, it disappears. It disappears over there. But it doesn't
Right.
stop me from, you know, I can go out in my neighborhood. I'm able to go out and walk.
Good.
I'm able to move about, and you know, I'm pretty active. I exercise every morning. I'm active with my instruments. That's another thing I did. I didn't give you the fun of my piano to give you some musical notes. You know, I'll do better
You
next.
know what? I want to say, man, your attitude is an inspiration to all of us.
Yeah.
I think the way that you've attacked this is inspirational, and it's great to see that you're doing better. So I just wanted to thank you for your support, and also just it's great to see that you're doing better.
Thank you. I'll always be appreciative of you guys. You guys always have my support.
Thank you, man.
And also one thing that we haven't really, because we haven't had a chance to really talk, but I do want to thank you for all your work that you've done with the trivia for the infamous Upper Deck show that we had on Sundays for a while, until unfortunately the ladies had to retire and enjoy their lives. But we do appreciate you for that.
That was fun
because you've been dedicated, you know, you dedicated your time for the channel and the growth of it. I think you were one of our first subscribers, and you've been riding with us since the beginning, and we don't take that for granted. So we do appreciate you joining us today. I'm sure you'll be joining us again on future open panels. But you know, with that, we do hope that everybody did enjoy the back and forth and the banter, stuff and things. Warren, John the Beagle Dad, Spencer, you know, Izzy, thank you for the super chat. Yankees Dave, Jonathan, I know you were busy, you couldn't jump on. I was shocked when you said that. And everybody else, when he doesn't have time,
my mom was
busy.
Stanton 3 years ago. I caught his home run at this stadium. That's awesome, man. I'd be over the moon with that.
And also Rivera Morado, appreciate you as well joining us in the chat, and everybody else. Like you said, even if you were not able to jump into the open panel, your contributions are not ignored. So we appreciate every single one of you. Make sure you do hit that like button, hit that sub button, share this out with your friends, your family, the strangers on the corner. Looking forward to the next open panel next Friday. I think this is going to be a little fun, little you know, break in the monotonous spring training to get you guys more involved with the channel and the way it's growing. So with that, Make sure you share this out with your friends, your family, the strangers on the corner. This is the Pittsburgh Chronicles. I am Uncle Taz with Donald. Hope you all do enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the Olympics. We got the men's hockey going for their medals. Congratulations to all the gold medalists that have already secured their
For
victories.
USA, let's go.
Yep. And we will see you next week. So just remember, wear those pinstripes of pride and play hard.